My dear brothers and sisters and my young friends, greetings. My name is Radha Sukhani. I'm a medical doctor by profession. Today we are going to talk about diabetes. This is part 2 of the diabetes talk. In part 1, we discussed what is diabetes, why does it occur, what is the science of diabetes. In this part 2, we will talk about natural solutions to prevent, control, and reverse the diabetes via a 6-point plan. I would recommend that you see part 1 before you go to this part 2 so that you have a clear understanding of what we are saying in part 2. All the materials connected to diabetes are posted on our website www.foodandlifestylebalance.com. In part 1, we explain that type 2 diabetes is a disease where sugar levels are high, insulin demand is high. And if you adopt natural solutions, a 6-point plan, you will control your sugars better, you will reduce your insulin demand, and you will be able to prevent the disease if you are at risk. You'll be able to control the disease better with less drugs and even be able to reverse the disease if it is not been there for very long and has a lot of complications. Now, of the 6-point plan, the most important first step is medical evaluation. With the help of your doctor, know the severity of disease, set up a plan so that you can periodically monitor the progress of your disease as you move on this plan. Second point is to adopt holistic plant-based foods, which are natural, not commercial. Third point is adopt balanced lifestyles with respect to fasting feeding behaviors, wake sleep behaviors, and mobility exercise behaviors. Fourth point, adopt intermittent fasting or time restricted eating. It is a very well researched regimen which has done wonders for controlling obesity and diabetes. Actually, fasting is the wrong word. It should be only time restricted eating because you're actually not fasting. You're eating all the food you want in a day, but you are eating it in a restricted amount of time. Fifth, normalize your sun bioenergy and vitamin D. Vitamin D is not just a vitamin, it's a hormone. It's present in every cell of the body. So you need a natural vitamin D to keep your cells healthy. Finally, 6-point, manage stress because stress is associated with high blood sugars. Now, in medical evaluation, you need to work with your doctor and know everything about your diabetes, how long you have had diabetes, what drugs you are on, how much insulin you are on. Your first aim will be to cut down your insulin so that you can become insulin free. As I said, insulin is a fat storage hormone and you do not want to gain weight. So less insulin you take, better you are. If you get rid of insulin, which you will be able to do on this natural plan within 3 to 6 months, it will be really good for your diabetes care. Blood glucose control, that is totally your responsibility. A doctor cannot be your policeman. You have to do your regular blood sugar checks, fasting blood sugars, and 2 hours post meal, especially when you go on this natural solution plan, so that you can really see the progress of your plan. And then also look how your foods are natural. Is your lifestyle balanced? Now, in laboratory evaluations, there are minimum labs which are done for diabetic patient. Number one is blood sugars, fasting and 2-hour post meal, which you have to do yourself on regular basis. Number two, hemoglobin A1C assessment, and you aim for hemoglobin A1C finally to be 7 or less. Now, hemoglobin A1C gives us a window of your blood sugar control in the past 3 months. Diabetic patients who are obese or even those who are skinny, if their blood sugars are high, they also have high bad cholesterol. So when your blood sugar control gets better, your bad cholesterol will also fall down. So you have to periodically check your cholesterols along with your hemoglobin A1C. Vitamin D and B12 levels. Diabetic patients who are not well controlled have low vitamin D and B12 levels. So it is important that you know your levels and manage them. Finally, thyroid function. Diabetic patients, when they're diagnosed, always we do a thyroid function on them because they can have low thyroid function. Somehow, low thyroid function and fatty liver are associated, and diabetes also, patients also have fatty liver. Your plan 2 is holistic meal, all plant-based, natural, no commercial foods. When you eat plant-based foods in the proper proportion, as is shown on this pie chart, and we'll get into it later, you will get a good balance of all the macronutrients, proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. At the same time, you will get micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. Now, antioxidants are special substances which clean and our body cells and keep them healthy. Now, antioxidants are present only in plant-based foods, predominantly in fruits and vegetables and in our herbs and spices. That is why when the COVID epidemic occurred, everybody is running for immunity in the pill in the form of a tea, concoction, herbs and spices. But the best way to get immunity is holistic food. Now, when we say macronutrients in plant-based diet, the proteins in the plant-based diet are healthy alkaline. Proteins in the meat-based diet are acidic. Carbohydrates in the plant-based diet are low glycemic carbohydrates. And fats in the plant-based diet are healthy unsaturated fats. So in what proportion we should eat these plant-based foods to get everything we want? Vegetables, 40% calories, fruits 10%, proteins 20%, grains only 10%. A easy way to remember is if you take one portion of grain, you have to eat 4 times its vegetables. A vital nutrient or vital macronutrient for a diabetic is fat. And a diabetic should consume at least 20 to 25% of their food calories in fat. Why do we say that? Because carbohydrates need insulin if the body wants to use it. Similarly, if the body wants to use protein, it needs insulin. But body needs zero insulin if it uses fat. So fat is a macronutrient which doesn't need any insulin. So if you want to reduce your insulin requirement, you have to have certain amount of healthy fat in your diet. No refined oils, only cold compressed natural oils, little bit of butter and ghee, and a fistful of nuts. Now, what does high and low glycemic index foods do to your blood sugars? Now, glycemic index means how fast your blood sugar goes up when you eat a food. So if you are eating natural plant-based foods, which are on the lower curve here, as you can see, your blood sugars will be low and they'll be sustained for 5 to 6 hours. But if you are eating commercial foods which are high glycemic, foods such as chips, biscuits, cakes, ice cream, dates, jasmine rice, white rice, potatoes, processed foods, and very sweet foods, and most importantly, white bread in any form, then your blood sugar goes up the ceiling very high. And it comes down very fast, below the normal level. And that is the point where you get severe food cravings and you eat more. So a diabetic patient has to eat plant-based natural foods so that your blood sugars remain low and they are sustained for many hours. If they eat high glycemic foods, their insulin demand will be very high and they will get many more hypoglycemic attacks. A good way to look at it is food pyramid, which helps both obesity as well as diabetes. So maximum amount of your food portion is vegetables, and specifically vegetables which grow above the soil. Vegetables which grow under the soil like potatoes and root vegetables have a little bit more starch. Not that diabetic cannot eat it, but eat it in small amounts. Fruits come next, then comes whole grains and legumes, then comes nuts and oils, and that is natural cold compressed oils, and finally the treats. It doesn't mean that diabetic can never eat any sugar treat or dessert. They can eat it, but they have to eat it judiciously, and we will talk about it in a little while. Now, I want to convert everything into cups and measures so that it's easy for you to understand. So if you are eating vegetables, as I said, predominantly vegetables which grow above the soil, 5 cups of vegetable, and each cup is about 125 grams, and 1 cup of fruit. If your blood sugar is in good control, you can go up on a fruit a little bit. 1 cup of lentils and legumes. Make sure legumes are a part of your diet because legumes are very good in protein. And try to eat biodiversity when it comes to lentils and legumes so that you can get different elements from different lentils and legumes. Grains, very important for a diabetic. A diabetic should eat whole grains, and a miracle grain for a diabetic is millets, because millets have 15% fiber by weight. So we have to compare millet versus wheat versus rice. Millets have 15% weight as fiber. Wheat has only 4 to 5% weight as fiber. And if it is milled wheat flour, literally no fiber. White rice, 0.5% fiber. And that is why the first thing which a doctor wants to stop on you when you have diabetes diagnosed is white rice. So there are many rice varieties available, which are low glycemic rice. So if you crave for rice, you can eat rice, but the right kind of rice. Do know that when you are eating flour, eat only wheat flour, which is whole wheat flour, which has got germ as well as fiber. The whiter the flour gets, more unhealthy it becomes. So you can imagine the refined wheat flour like maida or milled wheat flour is not a good grain flour for a diabetic. Now, healthy fats, as I said, are vitally important for managing diabetes because body doesn't need any insulin when it has to use fats. 20 to 30% of daily calories have to come from fats, and that amounts to about 7 to 10 teaspoonful of cold compressed oils every day and little bit of ghee along with it. So you can have 7 to 8 spoons of cold compressed oils and 2 to 3 spoons of ghee or butter with it. Now, amongst the cold compressed oil, the good oils are coconut oil, but not refined coconut oil, mustard oil, and sesame oil. Do know that olive oil is a cold oil. It is not a cooking oil. And when you are buying cooking oil or cooking olive oil, you're basically buying refined oil because you cannot cook at high temperature in olive oil, especially Indian style cooking. So all the olive oil which you are buying in the market for cooking is not really olive oil. It is refined oil, maybe 90-95%, and olive oil is maybe 5 or 10%. It depends on who wants to contaminate how much. You also know that 1 spoon of cold compressed oil will give you as much mileage as 4 spoons of refined oil because refined oils are very thin and refined oils are a no-no for a diabetic patient. Now, spices and antioxidants are good for a diabetic because they have a lot of antioxidant value. They are anti-inflammatory. And when the sugar level in the body is high, then there is a lot of inflammation and swelling in the body. So ginger and turmeric are good for diabetics from that point of view. Now, fenugreek seeds and as well as cinnamon seeds both have the quality of reducing blood sugar. It will not normalize your blood sugar. It will help. It all adds up. Make sure that you eat your spices freshly ground, not stale spices because they undergo oxidation and then they lose their antioxidant potential. I will soon tell you that milk is not a great idea for a diabetic patient, but to maintain digestive health, a diabetic patient can eat small amount of curd and thin buttermilk like chach. This supports your digestive health At the same time, fermented food also supports your digestive health, or what we call as microbiome in your digestive tract. And microbiome makes for us a lot of vitamins, and it also gives us a lot of immunity. So we need our microbiome. So you have to eat small amount of yogurt and chach, and also fermented food. And mustard works the best when it comes to fermented food. And we in India make a lot of pickles with the mustard. Now, sprouted seeds, lentils, and grains have been considered prana, or source of life food, by Ayurveda. Why source of life food? Because when you sprout these elements, their protein content goes up 30%, their mineral content goes up 30%, their vitamin B content goes up 30%. So make sprouts a regular part of your diet. Now, I always like to discuss acidic versus alkaline foods and food and lifestyle diseases. Typically, a diabetic patient with high blood sugars has an acidic body, while naturally our body is alkaline. Note here that all the plant-based foods are alkaline in nature, while the acidic food on your left side, meat on the top, sugars next, dairy next, grain, but I'll say refined grains, and wheat bread, or what we call as white bread. Actually, white bread is too bad for a diabetic, because 2 slices of white bread is equal to 4 spoons of sugar. 1 pav or vada pav is equal to 5 to 6 spoons of sugar. So when you eat these foods, do know what you're doing to your diabetes. Soft drinks, again, very high in sugar and alcohol, will make fatty liver worse, and will also make blood sugar control. Now, diabetics should stay away from dense milk foods. And what comes in dense milk foods? Paneer, cheese, and milk-based sweets. We all think that paneer is great vegetarian protein, but keep in mind that every 100 gram of paneer has 18 gram of protein, but 20 gram of saturated fat. And saturated fat is a fat which goes and makes cholesterol in the body. And we don't want that, because diabetics are already at high risk of having bad cholesterol. Cheese is 70 to 80% fat. Keep that in mind. It's all saturated fat. And then milk-based sweets have sugar as well as saturated fat. So make your call on what is right for you. Now, milk has certain elements which increase the insulin resistance. Milk has lactose sugar, it has saturated fat, and it has what we call as insulin-like growth factor. Now, insulin-like growth factor is a hormone which makes a calf grow rapidly. Within a month time, a calf grows 3 times the size. And you do not want that kind of a hormone in your body. You'll be surprised that the greatest growing dairy industry in the world is not cow's milk. It is plant-based milks. Soya milk, almond milk, oat milk. 30% of the milk consumption in the West is plant-based milks. And the day is not far when many humans will convert from dairy milk to plant-based milk. Reason? Our dairy milk is so contaminated. Dairy cows are raised in farms. They are locked up. They don't breathe the fresh air. They don't see the sunlight, so no vitamin D. They are fed corn, which is not their natural food. They get infection in their digestive tract. They are given mega doses of antibiotics. And then they are given hormones so they can produce 40 to 50 liters of milk. In contrast, Desi cow or Brahmin cow or Gir cow makes only 5 to 6 liters of milk a day. So make up your mind on how much of dairy milk you are going to use and how much of dairy milk you are going to feed your children. A diabetic should always eliminate fruit juices. simply because fruit juice is sugar with no fiber. And fiber is the one which prevents absorption of glucose from the digestive tract. So the best way to eat fruit for a diabetic is whole fruit with its fiber. The worst kind of fruit juice is the juice which comes in bottles, because it's actually not a real fruit juice, but it is sugar water to which a flavor has been added. So just know that fruit is the right thing for you, not the fruit juice. Leave the fruit juice. Leave the fruit juice for sick and for those who do not have any teeth. Instead of fruit juice, drink smoothies. If you combine vegetables and fruit together and make a smoothie, you're retaining all your fiber. You're getting the benefit of the fiber, at the same time, benefit of antioxidants from the vegetables. And as I told you, body needs antioxidants to cleanse its cells, to keep its cells healthy. Balanced lifestyle is key to maintaining normal blood sugars or good blood sugars in a diabetic patient. Balanced lifestyle is a lifestyle which is lived in harmony with 24-hour day and night cycle of the sun. This 24-hour day and night cycle of the sun is called circadian rhythm. Circa means round, DN means day, rhythm means harmony. And this harmony with the circadian rhythm is maintained by circadian brain clock. Yes, we do have a clock in our brain. And this clock is located behind our forehead, behind our eyes. This clock controls all our essential survival behaviors, such as sleep-wake cycle, fasting feeding cycle, and activity rest cycle. This clock controls every organ in the body. All the organs are active during the day, and all the organs are in rest, repair, and rejuvenate mode at night. Heart is functioning at 20% less capacity in the night. Blood pressure is 20% lower. Heart rate is 20% lower. Liver is not doing much work except providing the body with sugar for its maintenance. Pancreas is not making insulin for energy because body doesn't need any energy in the night. Any food which you eat after 8 o'clock is converted to fat. It's not used as energy. Digestive tract works only during daylight hours. It doesn't work in the nighttime. And you can imagine, digestive disorders are an epidemic in the modern days. Acid reflux, bloating, gas, all that because we are throwing food into the digestive tract late into the night. Circadian brain clock not only controls all the organs, it controls every physiological function in the body. If you are not in the circadian rhythm, we have more stress, digestion is disturbed, metabolism not working, we are more prone to diabetes and obesity. We are not active, we lose our vitality, we lose our immunity. So circadian brain clock controls our physiological functions and controls all our activities. So when do we eat? The ideal time to eat is during daylight hours because digestion is at its peak. Enzymes are working at the best. Glucose utilization is better, as I said. Any food we eat after 8 o'clock gets converted to fat, even if you eat the most holistic, healthy food. People who eat early sleep better because when we eat, the temperature in our core body or in our abdomen goes up. And when the core temperature goes up, we cannot get deep sleep. This in Ayurveda is called Jatragani. So food in the stomach produces Jatragani, and Jatragani doesn't let you get deep sleep. So the best time to eat food then is before 8 o'clock if your sleep time is going to be 10 to 11 p.m. at night. Now, interestingly, blood glucose level depend on our meal times. If we eat the same kind of food, same calories, same type in the morning, our blood glucose levels will be lower. But we eat the same food in the night, late night, after 8 o'clock, after 10 o'clock, then our blood sugars will be high. Now you wonder why diabetes is an epidemic. because everybody is eating their dinner at 10 or 11 o'clock. So even if they eat healthy food at that time, they are going to get high blood sugars. What is the other take from this? That if you like your rasgulla or gulab jamun, you better eat it in the morning before 12 o'clock, because that won't raise your blood sugar. And make sure that you're active, you don't sleep after that. Now, sleep and health are closely interlinked to each other. Deep sleep comes between 12 to 3 in the night. But in order to get that deep sleep, you have to sleep at least 2 hours before. So ideal sleep time is 10 to 11. Most of us think that if we get into the bed, we're going to get to sleep. No. The time you're going to get real sleep is related to the time you wake up in the morning. So if you wake up at 5 or 7 a.m. in the morning, you'll naturally go to sleep at 10 or 11. But if you wake up at 9, 10, 11, you will not get your deep sleep. You are eating into your deep sleep. And deep sleep is important because growth hormone is secreted during deep sleep. And this is the hormone which is responsible for rest, repair, and rejuvenation of the body organs. Good sleep keeps a good hormonal balance, including insulin, thyroid, cortisol. These are essential hormones in our body. Appetite hormones are also under the control of our sleep. And the appetite hormones are ghrelin, which increases hunger, and leptin, which causes satiation. So you need less of ghrelin and you need more of leptin to stay lean. But if you sleep late in the night, your ghrelin level will be high, your leptin level will be low. And that will not your diabetes look good, and it will have you gain weight. So first thing first, sleep is your most important behavior. If you are getting good sleep, you wake up in the morning full of energy and happy, ready for the day. But if you are not getting enough sleep in the night, alarm clock will be screaming in your ears and you'll be bleary-eyed. You'll have no vitality for the day. And that is not health. Now we're going to talk about time-restricted eating. I'm not going to use the word intermittent fasting because we are actually in reality not fasting. Now, time-restricted eating is a scientifically tested regimen which has done wonders for management of obesity and diabetes. Time-restricted eating basically states that you eat in finite number of hours during the daylight hours and fast the rest. And your fasting time should be greater than your eating time. An ideal fasting and feeding time to treat obesity and diabetes is 16 hours of fast and 8 hours of eating. So what time restricted eating means is watch the clock, not the calories. You can eat whatever your body needs, but it has to be holistic food. Now, the revolutionary study on time restricted eating was done by Dr. Satchin Panda. Dr. Satchin Panda works at the Salk Institute in San Diego. Salk Institute is an institute where polio virus was created. Now, Dr. Panda is a geneticist, actually agricultural geneticist. And he was given the assignment to look on why people get obese. So he started with mice, of course, as we all do in our research. He took 36 mice from the same lineage. Lineage means same parents, so that their genes were same. He divided these mice into two groups of 18 each. One group he allowed food only in the normal eating time of the mice. And the mice eat in the night and they sleep during the day. So these mice were eating for 10 to 12 hours of the night and were given no food during the daytime. The other group of 18 mice were given food to eat, same kind, same calories, same amount, ad libitum. Ad libitum means food is there, eat whenever you want. And mice eat by the smell. If you keep the food there, they'll be awake and they'll be eating. And what did they find in a few weeks? They found that mice who were eating in the restricted time, they were lean, they were very active, they were running around, they had no problem, they were healthy as they can be. While the mice who were eating ad libitum whenever, they became double, they became fat. When they looked at them, they had high blood glucose, they had fatty liver, they had inflammation and swelling in the body, and they have no coordination in their motor activity. So they're like falling around. When the same fat mice were put back on time-restricted eating pattern, all these abnormalities and obesity disappeared. So what is the take-home message? Time-restricted eating will save you from getting obese and diabetic and also from fatty liver. Now, when you are on the time-restricted eating regimen, it is a must that you eat natural, plant-based, healthy food for maximum benefit. There is no restriction on amount because all plant-based food are very low in calories. So you can eat a lot of vegetables, fruit. Fruit, of course, diabetic has to be limited. Whole grains and the rest have to be limited amount, but lots and lots of vegetables. Now, time-restricted eating gives you many benefits in addition to lowering weight and lowering blood sugars. It regulates the insulin better. It activates growth hormone, and growth hormone is a hormone which prevents aging. So it'll keep you young. It gives the digestive tract more downtime so that it works better. So your acid reflux, your digestive disturbance, they will all disappear. Your microbiome will be very healthy. You'll have no deficiency of B complex and others, and your body will be very active, full of vitality. So time-restricted eating is helping every aspect of health. Fasting is a supreme medicine. This was said in our Vedas, in our Ayurveda. Langanam param vashadam. It means fasting is the supreme medicine. For an obese person, it is very easy to fast track on time-restricted eating schedule. But for a diabetic, it has to be done with caution. First, a diabetic who wants to go on time-restricted eating must do their regular blood sugars. Otherwise, they won't be able to adjust the program. So, if the blood sugars are very high, you can start on the program without cutting down on your medication. But if you're getting hypoglycemic attacks, it is good to cut down your diabetic drugs by 30%. So initially start at 12 hours, then at every weekly interval, add 1 hour until you finally reach 16 hours. If you really are interested in losing weight, then you can go to 18 hours of fasting. So eating will be 12 hours starting, so time restricted eating within 12-hour window, then eating in 10-hour window, then eating in 8-hour window, and if you want to go to 8 hours to lose more weight, then eating in the 6-hour window. When you are in 12-hour window, you can eat 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. When you are in 10-hour eating window, you're eating 2.5 meals, 2 normal meals, and 1 half meal. When you are in 8-hour eating window, 2 meals, and then when you are in 6-hour eating window, 1.5 meals. The key is to keep yourself very well hydrated. And there are many kind of beverages you can have: water, green tea, clear juices, vegetable juices, non-sugar. And on our website, there is a recipes for low-calorie beverages, which you can share from the website. Now, sun energy is a very powerful energy to keep us healthy. Every living being on the planet and every plant and vegetation is connected to sun energy. For human, sun energy provides holistic, healthy plant-based foods, and at the same time, it gives guidance to balanced lifestyle. In fact, sun energy is such a great thing for health that I wrote these 2 lines. There are all kinds of light for sight, but for health, there is only one light, and that is sunlight. So you can imagine how much importance I give to the sunlight. Now, most of us think that sunlight is only giving us strong bones via vitamin D. And we can always take vitamin D with a pill. That's not true. Vitamin D is not a vitamin. It is a hormone. It is present in every cell. So when you get absorb sun energy, it improves your vigor and vitality. It fights depression. Geographic areas of the world where there is no sunlight have higher rates of depression and suicide. Sunlight improves memory. It reduces hunger. It reduces the risk of cancer and type 2 diabetes, fights cardiovascular disease. So instead of taking vitamin D from the pill, take benefit of sunlight. Now, what is the safe time for sunbathing? That is ideally 2 hours after sunrise and 2 hours before sunset. If you stand under the sunlight at that time, your shadow will be longer than you. If your shadow is the same size or shadow is smaller than you, that is not the right time for sunbathing. That time the sun is too strong. So the safe duration of sunbathing is for fair skin 10 to 15 minutes, for brown or whitish complexion 30 to 60 minutes, for dark skin 60 to 90 minutes. When you are sunbathing, do not put on heavy clothing. At least expose 40% of your skin surface area. The best sun absorption or sunlight absorption occurs from the bottom aspect of our arm and from the hands. So make sure that you keep them exposed. No suntan lotions. 2 hours after sunrise and 2 hours before sunset, sun is not strong enough to make you dark. So don't worry, don't put suntan lotion, because if you put suntan lotion, you're not sunbathing really. If the skin becomes hot, it means sun is too strong and you get out of the sunlight. Stress affects hormonal balance. When there is stress, there's a lot of hormones secreted which increase our blood sugar: epinephrine, glucagon, growth hormone, cortisol. And diabetic doesn't want to have this high blood sugar. So stress management is important. Now, stress is a very complex subject. So many books are written on it, but I'll try to put it in a smaller context, in an easy context. Modern lifestyle is full of stress because we are distracted, we are challenged in many different ways, and we take too much upon ourselves. Stress depends on our thinking. If our thought process is too fast, too much, then we have stress. If our thought process is slow and tranquil, we are at peace, no stress. A human thinks 85,000 to 90,000 thoughts, or better still, they call it 65 to 85,000 thoughts a day. And most of these thoughts are wasted thoughts, regrets of the past and anxieties of the future. So 80 to 90% wasted thoughts. So we hardly live in the present. We are mostly living in the past or in the future. So first thing you have to do is forget about regrets of the past and anxieties of the future. Live in the present. As soon as you start living in the present, your thought speed is slow. Your mind is peaceful and tranquil. Now, the biggest stress is fear of loss. Fear is the biggest stress for a human. And what are the 4 common reasons that we have fear of loss? Money, work, status, power, position, title, and relationship. But if you think of it, most of the fear of loss is related to one characteristic, and that is our ego. If we are not focused on our ego, then we'll have less stress. Surprisingly, if you look into the spelling of illness and wellness, illness starts with I and wellness starts with V. So easy rules of stress management are: first, unconditional help or unconditional love. That will keep you stress-free. If you are having expectations, there'll always be stress. Speak the truth, because every lie brings a lot of stress with it, because you have to speak many lies beyond it. Less you speak, less stress you have, because most of the stress comes from misspoken words. Let go and forgive, but that's not possible if there's I in it. We have to surrender the I to let go and forgive. And as I said, live in the present. No wasted thought, no regrets of the past, no anxiety of the future. Live for now. And meditation. Meditation is nothing but a technique where we are connecting with our own self, with our inner self in solitude. Because whenever we have stress, we know how to resolve it. So we have to go within. We have to find our solitude and we have to find our own solutions. Now, mobility and exercise is vitally important for a diabetic because, as I said, 70 to 80% of the glucose which comes from digestive tract is used by muscles for making energy. If the muscles are not using their glucose, then all their glucose is turning into fat and making your diabetes worse. So a good plan for regular exercise is start your day with yoga and pranayama, then walk. And the best way to walk is low and high impact walk. It means 5 minutes you walk at your usual pace and 2 minutes you do brisk walking. That gives some aerobic element to your walking. Stair climbing is aerobic, and you try to do few stairs every day, 5 or 6. You can divide them into 2-3 parts in the day. Weight training. Now, as I said in the beginning, in part 1, that diabetics have poor muscles. And poor muscles because they are not mobile and they are not move fat in their body. And weight training is very important for them to build the muscles. When you build the muscles, you are basically reducing your blood sugars. Stay mobile, not just exercise 2 hours in the morning and then a whole day you are in an inactive mode. Keep active the entire day and plan on doing 7 to 10,000 steps. If you are older, you have limitations, try to be 4 to 5,000 steps a day. A diabetic must be very familiar with his or own drugs. I say diabetes is a self-management disease. You can control your diabetes and prevent it from getting worse if you do self-management. And a very critical part of self-management is monitoring blood sugar levels, fasting blood sugars, and 2 hours post-meal sugars on regular basis. Aim for fasting blood sugar 100 to 120 or 110 to 120. If you tend to go lower, then you will have more problems with hypoglycemia. And then maintain your post-meal blood sugars to 160 to 180. It will take you a while, but slow and steady wins the race. You will get there. When blood sugars start decreasing, you start reducing first your insulin dose if you're on insulin, and then subsequently go to the oral anti-diabetic drugs. And insulin dose can be reduced by 2 to 4%. If you get hypoglycemia, you know that you're taking too much of diabetic medication and you cut down your dose by 30%. Now, keep in mind that if you get any infection or any illness, your diabetes is going to get out of control and you'll have to need medical attention. You will have to frequently monitor your blood sugars. Your blood sugars may go up. You may have to up your dose of the anti-diabetic medications. And as soon as your illness goes and you become normal, you revert back to your natural plan, 6-point natural plan, so that you can reorganize your program. So, in the end, I will say knowledge empowers us to conquer a problem. Lack of knowledge makes us powerless. If you are knowledgeable about science of diabetes, knowledgeable about natural plans, you'll be able to control your blood sugars much better. You will be in the driver's seat, not your drugs. You will be in charge. You will be able to control your blood sugars with much less doses of medications, and you will be even able to reverse the diabetes. At least you will be able to prevent serious complications from happening. So good luck to you with the natural plan and diabetes science. Thank you very much. I want to conclude with a 6-line Hindi poem, which kind of gives you a little gist on food and lifestyle. So here we go. अन्न और दूध की मात्रा रखें कम से कम मीठा और मांस देते बीमारी का गम। कृत्रिम तेल से रही हमेशा दूर, शुद्ध तेल और घी ही है ताकत से भरपूर। पौष्टिक आहार और संतुलित दिनचर्या का रहे हमेशा साथ। अनुशासित व्यायाम और उपवास में रहे सदा विश्वास। Bid you farewell, goodbye.